Hey, Bulelani Balabala here. Welcome to the Small Business Podcast. We bring you weekly information, practical skills, and mentorship from industry professionals. This podcast is powered by T, an initiative that has directly impacted over 50,000 plus small businesses nationwide. This podcast is for small business owners who want to start, run, and grow their business. Follow us on all our social media platforms. #JoinUs4T. Every Wednesday is a new podcast. Small Business Podcast is a platform that brings you information on all things business, but I think over and above that, I think we've unpacked and seen the importance of developing and training the jockey as opposed to having an over focus on the horse, because the moment the jockey understands critical things such as how the business works, the business mechanics, systems and processing, as well as, personal development and leadership and acquiring leadership skills, then they'd be able to navigate better the entrepreneurship terrain, but also, navigate better in terms of how you manage relationships with stakeholders, how you manage relationships with your team members and the sorts. And episode 34, and thank you guys for your patience because we're out for a month, on a month sabbatical, but we're back now, and no better way than to kick off our comeback than with this amazing, beautiful, smart, intelligent, well-accomplished leader. And just again, before I even do the intro, but thank you so much. I know how busy your schedule is, and I know how busy you are.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being in studio with us today. We don't take it for granted. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate you. But just before we even go in, I've got an amazing lady in studio today. She goes by the name Zandile Mposelwa.
Correct.
And I like
you
that.
got it right.
No, definitely. I practiced. I didn't even need practice. Like it rolls off the tongue.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Zandile Mposelwa, who is the corporate affairs director for Kellogg's. Kellogg South Africa.
Correct.
Wow. The beautiful thing, the first thing that she mentioned when she got into studio is whatever snack brand you have, push it one side. And I want to put this on record, right? She said push it one side because I am supplying you a live supply.
Oh my word, so much pressure.
Of everything we manufacture, from Kellogg's to cereals to yonke into.
Wow, I must say that we exist to make food.
Wow.
We make food. That's our license to operate, and that's who we are, man.
No, man, thank you, because you guys make my morning every morning, right?
Yeah.
With your canola thingy, and with the canola muesli, I mix it with my all brand with a bit of milk, and my day starts every single day.
I'm telling you, you've got your fiber there, you've got your taste there, you've got everything. Lunchtime, you can do the noodles, and during the breaks, you can do your Pringles. So we got you covered.
No, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So Zandile, man, and just kicking it off, just by way of introduction, tell us, ubani Zandile, ubuyaphi, and how did you, start to assimilate the growth of this corporate beast?
Oh, goodness. Zandile is an Eastern Cape girl. And I come from, the small towns in the Eastern Cape. I had like massive dreams. And I remember when somebody asked me what I wanted to do. Everybody wanted to do BCom. I was like, I want to do marketing. I didn't know what marketing was. But hey, went to Cape Town, very young, didn't know how to speak English properly. But I suppose with a sheer determination to make it. Then I did my marketing in Cape Town, what used to be Cape Technicon at the time. I just revealed my age. So I was able, I've got my degree in marketing, and I've worked with various organizations from Home Choice to Woolworths to BP to Tetra Pak. I am now at Kellogg. And I think one of the exciting things about my journey, Bulelani, I think when you've got people that believe in you, then it just spurs you on to be able to get to a point where you can be able to feel that, the sky's the limit. I can drive my dreams. I can also find reason to impact others. So that's been my journey. I'm blessed. I am blessed to be able to do what I love and enjoy.
So one of our focal things today, right, is in and around leadership, but specifically so, purpose-driven leadership, or leadership from the vantage of driven by one's own purpose.
Yeah.
Now, one of the, I think one of the things that is a big challenge, right? I think as I interact with entrepreneurs as we go around the country, we workshop them tens of thousands a year. One of the biggest things that consistently keeps coming up is, how did you sort of align with your purpose? Because we're still trying to find ourselves, we're still trying to find who we are. How did that journey of development, sort of assimilate and sort of happen for you personally?
You know what? Sometimes things happen for a reason, where you think you're going towards this direction, and for whatever reason, you find yourself pivoting towards a certain direction. I think at some stage in my career, I had a mentor, actually two mentors, that challenged me to find my purpose. And I didn't understand what this purpose thing is. And every time I would come to say, here's my purpose, they were like, no, that's not it. And that constant asking myself, why am I doing this? And I think when I got to a point where, looking at from a professional, personal, and all spheres, when I would keep on coming to the same answers about this is why. And when I ask people about what do you think my purpose is, and they would give me feedback that connects with what I had written down. And then I got to a point of saying, aha, that is it. And my purpose is about inspiring positive change. Whether I'm talking about positive change at work, with people that I lead, with my leaders, at church, in my personal space, it's all about inspiring positive change. I'm a corporate affairs director. For me, it's about inspiring change in the perception of my organization and manage that reputation. It's about making sure that the CSI initiatives, they enable change to the people that we support. It's about making sure that the men and women that I mentor professionally and personally, they end up changing for the better, regardless whether from a personal or a professional perspective. So that is the journey that I've been on. And you spoke about entrepreneurs. I take my hat off for them. Very courageous individuals. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're putting everything that you have. You work 24/7. Imagine if that 24/7 you were able to invest it in something that talks to your purpose. And why I'm saying that is because every single day, I said to you, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be able to wake up and feel like, regardless of everything happening, I know that I'm going to make a change today. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot that you sort of touched on, right? So that I really, really love, right? But now, just on the back of that, right? Because you sort of unpack what your purpose is, which I love. What did it mean for you? Was the trajectory to always go into corporate affairs? Because I think what that gives you is an amazing opportunity to action out real, impactful, meaningful change, right? And I think you sort of started out in the marketing fraternity,
yes.
And here you are fulfilling your purpose, right?
Yeah.
How did you, when you were doing marketing, did you at any point feel like, I've done this, or this is not my place? Or do you sort of feel like things just fell into place purely because you are guided by your own individual purpose and how you are delivering your value?
Had you asked me beginning of 2018, I would not even see myself in corporate affairs. I kid you not. Because at the time, I was a marketing manager, still at Kellogg. You know what? And when I look back, mine was that change would have been to connect consumers with our brands, leading obviously to increased consumption and all of those great things. However, because I was working with women and naturally coaching women especially and men, I think that ignited the thing that led me to where I am, because in corporate affairs for Kellogg, I see myself as being the marketing director for the company, not the brands, but the company. And what that means is that I'm able to even connect with the women and men that I mentor or work with in order to fall in love with the Kellogg brand. Whether I'm talking on LinkedIn about my company, my underlying objective is to position my company as the potential employer for them. Because I talk about what connects me to the company. And also I talk about, not in so many words, but you could almost feel what my purpose is by my engagements internally and externally. So whilst corporate affairs was not something, I never went to varsity to do PR or strategic communication, but I can tell you now, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Do I see myself going to marketing? Perhaps not, because I think there's a bigger purpose that I need to play. Whether where I am or future employers, to be able to create that strong connections with companies, but most importantly, to make companies realize that they work with people and people's passion is ignited when they understand the vision, the purpose of the company, when they understand the purpose of the company and how it links to them. And I'm enjoying the fact that I have the pleasure to be able to do that. Yeah.
And I think that's such a beautiful thing. You know, there's a consistent theme that keeps coming up. I think in the sort of opening engagement you spoke about, even the young ladies or young women or young professionals that you, whether male or female,
Yes.
that you mentor or the ones that you coach.
Yes.
How important is getting a mentor or a coach in one's career journey? You know, maybe let me start by asking this in actual facts and then followed up by that. Did you or do you have such individuals in your life helping you to navigate? And then on the back of that, how important is it for one to sort of identify people in their own career path, whether the career is entrepreneurship or a career in corporate or government, to sort of, engage individuals who help them grow?
You know, I have a mentor. I've got two mentors.
Wow.
It's
beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
because
beautiful.
each of them, they serve a different purpose.
Yeah.
I've got two mentors, I've got a sponsor, and I've got a coach. And I'll tell you why. One mentor is a female within Kellogg. Why I chose that person, because they are allowing and supporting my growth development towards a certain area. And every 2 years, I change mentors, but keep connected with the previous one. And the other one is externally, because I need someone to help me, that I can bounce off my thinking from an external perspective, to help me ground it, and also someone that I absolutely aspire to. And by the way, sometimes I identify people and they become my mentor from afar. Would not have had conversations with them, but I observe what they do. I love what they do, and those kind of things that really inspire me. And then my sponsor is someone internally that is helping open the doors for me. And somebody quite senior, very strategic in the organization, and they know what my career plan is. And I would have conversations with them once a quarter to say, I'm on track, I'm not on track, this is where I want to go, no, that's where I want to go. And they help me connect me with other leaders within the organization. And the coach then, supports me. My coach is an external coach, supports me with my personal objectives to help me there. The coach, the mentor, and the sponsor are critical, because it's people that you can have real conversations with that will help you in your career and your ambitions as well, so that you are able to keep yourself on track. And people that would be able to open doors for you. And I'll go back to the sponsor. And now, especially for men and women who are even in corporate, I kid you not, never underestimate the importance of a sponsor. Because when you don't have a sponsor, you don't have somebody who's sitting in the most senior tables advocating for you. Because that's where career decisions are made about, we need to move Bulelani from this role to that role. You need someone who's going to say, yes, absolutely agree, this is A, B, C, and D. I've learned that within the organization that I work with. I work at right now. And that is why it connects with my purpose to be able to sponsor the talent behind me, to be able to sit in that executive table and know that I'm not sitting for myself. I'm carrying men and women, especially women in the context of South Africa where gender parity is not there. I'm carrying them in that boardroom to make sure that there's somebody who's advocating for them. Yeah.
And I like that, right? But now just engage me on this. You sort of highlight the importance of having a sponsor.
Yeah.
But just off the back of that, right? And I think, having a detailed career plan, which is very deliberate. And I like that because, if you want to be successful, the success is deliberate. Yeah. You do it purposeful each and every day with a clear plan. Yeah. What did it take for you to sort of, have you always had this confidence in you that allowed you to walk into spaces, and raise your hand and say, but this is what I'm confident in, this is what I'm able to deliver in? Because I think time and again, I meet amazing individuals who deliver the most amazing products, the most amazing value, but when it comes to being in the boardroom or being in executive spaces and decisions are being made, they silence their own voice and they never put their hand forward. What did it take for you to let loose that courageous, confident, amazing individual in you to say, we are in spaces, I'm not just in here for me, I'm advocating for other sisters in corporate who are aspirant to be in corporate positions or within this organization that I am, that we have opened up the doors and we have laid and paved the way for you?
Thinking back to when I was doing matric, I come from a area in the Eastern Cape where we were taught, I kid you not, we were taught Afrikaans and English. We were taught English in Xhosa or whatever you want to call it, where I would have to think, Bulelani is going to say this. How am I going to respond? Is my sentence construction correct? And I think then it took me to challenge myself to say, how do I stand and present? Standing in front of the mirror, practicing my presentation. Because remember, I'm coming from a Transkei school to Cape Town in an institution, in 1995, my first year, where institution still talks Afrikaans all the time. Now to say, how do I then survive here? Because I don't want to go back and tell my parents that I failed. It's not an option for me. And then to be able to then continuously push myself to say, I don't want to flee, I don't want to fail, I don't want to fail. And I think then one of the things that really gave me courage is to have men and women who believed in me and offer me the opportunity. And that need not to want to fail them is what really encouraged me to constantly push myself. And to tell myself, when I'm given an opportunity, I'm not going to say no, I'm taking it, I'm running, because there's a reason why I was selected for that development program, or there's a reason why I was encouraged to apply for a certain role. It's all of that, which started as a way to try to please people and to try not to fail, which really kept on encouraging me to be better. And I really also owe it to some of the people in my lives who would say, no, practice. You can do this, you can do that. And also when I didn't succeed in what I needed to do, to take a step back and say, what can I do differently so that I can do it better next time? Whether you're talking about job interviews or you're talking other spaces, what can I do to do things differently? And to also try to stretch myself a little bit. And if I look at the role I'm in now, it took one person, my mentor, to say, why don't you do corporate affairs? And I was like, what are you talking about? And then they said, all right, you enjoy talking about the organization. You support and lead Women of Kellogg, which is an employee resource group that supports women at Kellogg. And also, you've had an opportunity to profile Women of Kellogg externally to the media. You love the CSI program that the company has. So why don't you try it and decide where you want to take this? And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Without understanding exactly what I'm going to do. And I must say that taking a chance and also having mentors and when people say, I believe in you, you go with that has been helpful to me. And also to look at failure as an opportunity to do better. Yeah.
Now, I think just off that back, right? As I engage with you and as I've seen you earlier on, you look amazing. I don't even think you've revealed any age apart from the fact that you're probably 25 and younger.
Oh, thank you.
25 and younger. But you look like you've got it all together. You speak so well. You speak with so much confidence that it doesn't even seem that you've dealt any bit of failure, just perceptively, right? How have you navigated the times where you've gotten a no, or the times where, like you said, before you've even had to go to the drawing board, right, back to the drawing board and ask yourself how? How have you dealt with that emotional pressure, that emotional moment where you failed temporarily in that thing that you wanted to do?
Listen, I don't always have it together. Trust me. The lipstick sometimes and the smile, it hides a lot of frustrations. Look, it happens, right? And from a personal perspective, I would just go to a phase where I'm like, you know what? Popo has hit the fan, not the way that I thought things are going to go. What now? And one of the things that I constantly work on is to try and recognize that things are not going well. Now, what am I going to do? And because I'm such an eternal optimist, whether it's a flaw or not, but I always think that there's a reason why things happen, and it's about what lessons am I learning from there. And I have a teenage son, and for me, it's about saying, how do I emulate behaviors that say failure is part of life? But it's important not to dwell too much on the failure. It's about recognizing what am I learning out of this and move on. And you know what? Life happens and we repeat the mistakes that we do. But also it's about how do I not let my setbacks define me and to move on. And I also, because again, being an executive at Kellogg, I need to make sure that the employees look beyond a setback to say, listen, we didn't do well this month. We can do this. Let's push. Let's pump the cornflakes and make sure that they get to the stores. During COVID, where our employees every single day had to go make cereals, we had to move cereals. It's about saying there's a bigger reason why we're doing this. Let's do this. And make sure that I've got people that I can reach out to for support when I need support.
I love as you engage, right? Because I think I'm learning so much. How do you deal with imposter syndrome? Because you are this C-suite executive. When you initially got to whatever table you perceived as the table I wanted to sit on, where that was at a senior management, junior management, executive management table that you sat on, and you look across the room at these individuals that you might have thought, I'd never maybe get here as quick as I thought, or even sit here with them, and you're sitting there. Do you sometimes have to pinch yourself and remind yourself that I deserve this? And how do you manage that? Because sometimes, I think it's our mindsets of us that diminish our own personal purpose, and then we end up suffocating ourselves thinking we don't deserve. How do you psychologically, mentally, and spiritually just align yourself to churn that in every space you walk into?
Imposter syndrome is horrible. And I kid you not, it hits me sometimes. it's it sometimes it would hit me, and sometimes I would get over it without realizing that I am moving on. And I would realize it by just being quiet, or perhaps feeling that I don't have anything to contribute. And one of my mentors once said to me, Zandile, all you need to do is to think what is the worst that can happen by opening my mouth, by opening your mouth. And actually, I keep on reminding myself that what is the worst that can happen? I can make a comment that is off topic altogether, which is what I should try not to do. I could ask a question that makes people think twice about what we're discussing. I could talk about something that is unique, that I know makes impact. And also I can realize my power, the things that I know make me stand out in the environment that in. It could be the fact that I'm going to make an example, sitting in a meeting with my colleagues that are based in Australia, Singapore, South Korea, and the likes. It could be about the fact that I come from a very unique continent that looks at things differently. So it's about saying, what unique can I add here? What the most impactful thing I can make. And if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. I'm not the first person to make a mistake. I'm sure the richest people in the world, they make mistakes, and it's not the end of it. It won't be the end of me.
Why is it important to lead every single thing you do with purpose? And also, just on the back of that, is purpose for a select, in your view, is it for a select group of individuals who are highly accomplished? Or am I as a junior, as an aspirant professional? Is this something that I need to be leading with? Because I think sometimes what we do with these, and especially what I'd love for, if you're watching this podcast, to sort of debunk is, the fact that everything we speak of now is stuff that you should be aligning with in the growth of your journey, right? Is this for a select type of individual, or is this how we all should be aspirationally being guided to living our lives? And what is the importance of unearthing this individual purpose?
Simon Sinek always say you must discover your why. Why? I absolutely do not believe that is for the select few. My purpose could be different to yours, could be different to another person. I'm sure a person like Elon Musk has got a completely different purpose than me. So it's a case of what ignites you, what makes you wake up excited every morning. And that's the purpose. And I absolutely encourage the viewers of the podcast to just do a little bit of work, do some reading around purpose, understanding your purpose, do some reading around leading with a purpose, because you probably will be surprised that some of the things that you do, some of the things that you say, they are talking about your purpose. So I absolutely encourage everybody to do that, because imagine when we are in a world that is dealing with the pandemic, dealing with the high petrol prices, dealing with that. Imagine if you find something that excites you every day. It's a glimmer of hope, and it's about how, regardless of what it is, for me it's about the fact that every day what I do impacts somebody in a positive way.
Now, just let me in on this, right? I mean, what keeps you inspired? I mean, on days where, do you have days where you don't feel like, waking up? What keeps you going back? Throwing your hat in the gauntlet and saying, we are going to do this? Because, I look at you and you seem like this ball of energy, right? The person we can run to, as employees of Kellogg's, South Africa, to say, guide us, teach us, let us draw so much of your energy, right? But my then thing would be to then say, what drives you? What feeds you? What helps you to consistently replenish?
One could say that there's constant replenishment. Absolutely, there are days where I feel like I don't want to get up. I just want to sit in bed and not do anything. What feeds me, I guess, is the natural optimism that I have around just generally everything that happens. And just to want to just kind of just get a move on. Whether you're talking about, I'm going to make an example. If, say, for example, I remember I went to a school the other day, a school that we support with our Better Days program. These children, they get food from Kellogg to eat every single school day. And these are children that would not have had food, some of them. Some of them parents would not have had time to make them breakfast. So we make sure that we send them milk, we send them cereals, and they eat. So I left that school. I was feeling so down, seeing the hunger, hearing stories from the teachers. And I think as much as I was feeling down when I came back from that school, what brought my energies up is to say, hang on, Zandi. For whatever reason, you were led to make sure that that school gets that food. We in that school, we've got close to 1,000 children that are getting food from Kellogg every day. So whilst for me, I was low because of seeing the hunger, impoverishment that I hear from the teachers, the fact that we're able to make a difference, the fact that my role made those decisions to say, let's go to that school, let's do this, is things that kind of bring my energy levels up to say, regardless of what's happening in the world, we've made a difference in a child's life. Those things, they just ignite me, my passion. They also just give me a little bit of hope and energy. Those hope and energy gives me that sense of, let's get up, let's do this thing. And I pray and hope that that continues to happen.
I mean, as the corporate director, right, of corporate affairs for Kellogg's SA, you know, you do such beautiful and impactful work, right? Where do you want to take this? You know, where do you want to lead this Kellogg ship, you know, in the next 5 years? Because you definitely have already started in all these amazing goodies you're going to give us. To form part of the 5-year strategic plan.
You know what? The other day I was chatting to my colleagues at the factory, actually the guys who do the work, making the cereal. And they call me Mposelwa. They're like, Mposelwa, this and that and that. And sometimes they're like passionate about things. And I'm looking at these guys. They've worked for Kellogg for years and years and years. Some of them, their fathers, their mothers work for Kellogg. And they see the passion about the organization. They see the organization taking their children, their children's children to school. For me, it's about how do I make sure that the Kellogg in South Africa continues the legacy beyond. Next year, we're going to be 100 in South Africa. 116 globally this year. So how do we make sure that we continue? How do I make sure that our passion as an organization continues to be ignited? And how do I, in my little world, corporate affairs, make sure that we continue to create better days? You know, we bring you your cereal and milk and make access to food equitably so. In other words, making sure that work with my colleagues to make sure that our food is fortified, making sure that we donate food to children and families that can't afford to go buy food. So for me, that is where my focus is, and also is to almost create a culture, or to contribute creating a culture of people that are passionate about the organization, almost like creating this movement of people that believe in the organization, making sure that the women that work for Kellogg, they see the company as helping them achieve their professional goals. Those are the things that are very close to my heart. And I always say that while I'm still at Kellogg, I need to make sure that my legacy is a legacy that there will be people that will be able to take from there and take it forward.
You know, for someone who started off the podcast much earlier on, I think even before we started by saying, "Oh, guys, I hardly ever do this. I don't do this." You spoke with so much bravado, with so much leadership, with so much prowess. It's just been an honor. And as an actual fact, you know, you've underserved us, because I feel like there's so much. You know, I'll tell you why, right? Because as you talk, I feel like we could have sat here for 2-3 hours. We could have even sat here for 2-3 days. And I mean, there's a big part of me that feels like I'd definitely love to reach out to you when we do our workshops.
I would
love
to.
In the township.
Yeah.
You know, to come share
Absolutely.
this knowledge in August when we do something for young women who are aspirant entrepreneurs, because you are that role model. And I think being able to position amazing women like as yourself, you know, as the aspirational role models to help guide from a leadership, governance, you know, delivery and purpose perspective is the win. But before we let you go, what is your...
I would love to do that. I would love, absolutely.
Done. It's done. There's no, I'll check my calendar. There's no calendar that's being checked now. It's done.
Great. I love it when decisions are made just like that.
But before I let you go, back to your hectic calendar, what, you know, to the professional listening to this, the aspirant professional, to the small business owner listening to this, what would be your either message of encouragement, your own personal parting shot, message of purpose, whatever you have in your heart to them?
You know what? I think as a starting point, it's an honor to be able to be here. And it's also an honor to be able to say to you that there's a reason why you chose the path that you have. And it might not sound like it makes sense now. It might be a case where you just want to put food on the table. But I think what's most important is that purpose is important. And if it's something that impacts someone, go for it. If it doesn't, it probably does. Just do a little bit of work on it. And I think the encouragement for me is about just realizing that the moment you tap into your purpose, you are halfway there. And it's a journey, right? They say it's a lonely journey. So imagine if it's a journey that allows you, to impact somebody, whether it's a product or it's a service that you're offering, or whether perhaps you're still thinking about what is it that you need to do. And my encouragement is that just think about why would you want to do it? How would it impact somebody else's life? And also, what satisfaction you hope to get. You know that feeling at the bottom of your stomach of saying that today, this is what I'm excited about. I might not have been able to achieve my goals in terms of monetary and likewise. However, I've made a difference. And step by step, don't rush your process. Step by step, continue to feel inspired. Continue to inspire yourself. Read around people's leadership. It has made a difference in my life. I'm not an entrepreneur and I take my hat off you. But stay the course. Stay the course, man. You know, the world is your oyster. You just have to figure out how to really harvest those oysters. And all the best to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Small Business Podcast with the amazing Zandile Mposelwa, Corporate Affairs Director for Kellogg's SA and a friend and partner of the Small Business Podcast. Thank you
Absolutely.
for watching and
Such
listening.
an honor. Thank you.
That's it for today. If you like that podcast, show us some love and share it with your network. Once again, follow us on all of our social media platforms, #JoinUsForTea, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Shout out to Joe Public for making this possible. Remember, Sisonke Rikaufela and Foster Njengomzegezege.